Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a pretty serious show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, my name is Charles Sabansi. My handle is CTABANZ. If you want to follow the channel, Dreamers Pro on Instagram, same name as the channel, Dreamers Pro. And also, if you want today's full show before it comes out on YouTube, it is streaming for free on the Dreamers Pro podcast that we have pinned in the comment section below. Anyway, let me get into this topic here. So this is a continuation. Obviously, depends on which order you're watching the shows that we're releasing today, but it's a continuation from the Kimberly Martin situation that took place on ESPN, where Kimberly Martin of ESPN was essentially responded to some comments that Cam Newton made that were centered on certain quarterbacks within the NFL, and he was basically characterizing or classifying, quarterbacks that are game changers and quarterbacks that are game managers, right? So he put out those comments that were controversial. They were now brought to the panel of Get Up, and then when it came time for them to respond to it, Kimberly Martin went first, and then she decided to take a personal shot and Cam Newton by talking about his appearance, and then ultimately she went into her comments, and then people reacted to that. Fine. So she put out those comments. A lot of people are talking about this over the internet, and one of those people is one of her co-workers at ESPN, Ryan Clark. As you guys know, Ryan Clark is an opinionated person. He's very, very smart, very intelligent. And he's one of these people that's not afraid to give his opinion, and he's not afraid to, to have uncomfortable moments on television. You can go back years when him and Stephen A. Smith and Rob Parker had their moment on television. So Ryan Clark has always been kind of edgy, and I guess that's what makes him who he is. And, shout out to him. So he got a chance to hear the comments that she made, and he decided to respond to it on this show, The Pivot, right? And when he decided to tackle the issue, he really went into detail about why he felt as if Kimberly and people that do what she does cross the line, and that's the comments we want to get into. But before we even get into his comments, this video is brought to you by our sponsor, Aura. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is today? It's identity theft. Imagine trying to log into your email only to see that your password has been changed. Then you start getting weird notifications from your bank and credit cards, only to find out that all of your personal and sensitive information has been totally compromised. If you think it can happen to you and your family, just know that in 2020, over 49 million Americans were victims to identity theft, costing them a combined $56 billion. That is why we are excited to partner with Aura, who's the sponsor of this video. Aura is the #1 identity theft and financial fraud protection. Aura monitors the dark web and alerts you if any of your passwords and accounts have been breached. And funny enough, after using Aura, I discovered some of my credentials were floating around in the dark web, and the app showed me exactly when and where the breach happened. In addition, Aura allows you to set spending alerts, and they'll notify you of any suspicious transactions. Aura is 4 times faster than any of its competitors in alerting you if someone is trying to open a credit card or obtain a loan using your name. And remember this, every 14 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity fraud. Don't let it happen to you. Now click the link in the description and try Aura for free for 2 weeks and see if any of you or your family's personal information has been compromised. Start your free trial at aura.com/dreamerspro. And when you try Aura, by using the link in the description below, also know that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do is want to play exactly what Ryan Clark had to say here. It's a little bit lengthy, but I want you guys to take a listen to it in its entirety so you get the full scope of his idea, and then want to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what Ryan Clark had to say here.
When I look at what Cam Newton said and the reaction to it, I think this way, first of all. Everyone is talking about where Cam is now and speaking from the fact that he's not on a team and that he may want to be on a team. Guess what? All of us that give our opinion, right, either can't play anymore, nobody wants us to play anymore, right. And in some of these people cases, you never played because you couldn't play. So to speak about where Cam is making the comment from now is wrong, right? And to treat Cam as what I heard from somebody, to treat Cam as someone tweeting from their mother's basement is also wrong. Because what Cam Newton's perspective is different. Cam Newton's perspective is over 700 first place Heisman votes because I had 48 touchdowns in the SEC. I led the SEC in rushing with 1,400 plus yards. I threw for over 2,600 yards. It's being rookie of the year with 4,000 yards passing, which was a rookie record.
14 touchdowns.
Right? 14 rushing touchdowns right? Which was the most ever. It's in 2015, accounting for 45 touchdowns, 10 of those rushing. And doing it his rookie year with Steve Smith at age 32 as his number one receiver, an old Jeremy Shockey, a young Greg Olsen. And so when he's looking at these quarterbacks, you know what he could say? Of the three I named, only one of them won Rookie of the Year, and that's Dak Prescott. Of the three I named, only one of them have thrown for over 4,000 yards, which I did as a rookie. When Cam Newton is looking at that, he's looking at it from that perspective. And in looking at it from that perspective, I don't agree with his opinion about Dak Prescott, but I do agree with his opinion about the other two in some ways. But my point is this, though. Why do we as analysts get to talk about that man like he wasn't one of the best we ever seen do it at one time? Because when I make a comment, I don't expect people to respond to my comment with, oh, you were an undrafted free agent safety. When other people on TV make a comment, you don't expect them to respond with, oh, you played basketball at an HBCU and you were just a reporter. Or you are a woman who just reports from the sideline. Or you are a quarterback that was a backup his entire career, right? Those personal attacks on Cam in his lows, forget his highs. And as everybody is entitled to an opinion, I don't know if it's his platform, I don't know if it's his clothes, I don't know if it's his bravado, I don't know if it's his paint job. But Cam Newton saying that people are game managers, when you say it and hear it all the time on TV, that a guy like Kirk Cousins, for his entire career, everyone has called him a game manager and he's one of the richest quarterbacks that's playing football right now, it's wrong. And so when you speak on Cam and his opinion, talk about his opinion, because all of these people who are spewing this vitriol at who Cam Newton is today were never what Cam Newton was at his height. And that is the perspective and that is the perch in which he's making his assessment on, which is okay to make because all these people who now get paid to do it never did it like him and aren't doing it anymore. So it shouldn't matter where he's making the comment from.
So you heard his comments. There's a lot because he said a lot and he touched on a lot of things. Firstly, about the part about not name calling, I think he's 100% on the money, right? It is not right to name call a person. It is always the best practice to stay on topic. If you're discussing a particular topic item, keep it on the topic. Don't make it personal. And I'm not saying this to say, oh, everybody's holy. No, because we all have made mistakes from time to time. So I think that policy is a good one. Now, can there be situations where people can sometimes lose their composure or get irritated at things? Well, absolutely. I've seen that even happen to Ryan Clark when he was having a back and forth with Mad Dog Russo on television. And he was like, don't talk to me like this, don't raise your voice at me. And people up there like, is that what's going on here? I didn't really see that happening. So we're not going to remove the human component in all this because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. That's the first thing. The second thing was this. He brought up the point about not disqualifying Cam Newton because he's not in the NFL right now. And he basically crystallized that idea by saying, okay, Cam may not be in the NFL right now, but when he was in the NFL, he was a bad boy. He was a bad boy, and he was, I guess, what you would characterize as a game changer, to use the term that he put out there. So he's speaking from a place of knowing. And he then said to now dismiss him, especially coming from a place where you couldn't do what that person did, is wrong. And he makes a point as well, because Cam Newton does have the expertise. Now, maybe some people would have disagreed with his delivery, but the question still remains. Is there some substance? Is there some credibility to the comments that he was making? Well, if you're a quarterback of that ilk like he was, there must be some truth to what he was saying. So to dismiss him is not advisable, and I think that's the point that he was pointing out. To me, listen, I think that the sports media landscape is still evolving. I think that all of the rules are not outlined yet. This is what I believe. I don't believe that the rules are set in stone right now because things are changing so quickly. They quite literally are. Things that we would never discuss on shows are being discussed now. Some of the biggest names in sports are talking about things that you wouldn't believe. Whereas in the past, We had a certain image, or you had a certain image that you had to maintain, right? If you had a certain personality on television, you had to maintain that on and off air. But now you see certain people go out on television, they have a particular persona, then they go into the independent space, they have, they seem to be a little bit more natural, they seem to, they can curse, they can get into their real, and you now begin to wonder, okay, but I thought that was the rule, I guess not, right? So I don't think the rules in sports media are defined as of yet, because there's so much change taking place within the landscape. Right. And now you have a situation in which you have personalities on television that also exist on TV and also exist off air. In the case of Ryan Clark, he's a contributor on ESPN. You've seen him on ESPN First Take. You've seen him on many shows, but he also has his own thing with the Pivot podcast. Right. So he can go out there and give that view on his show, The Pivot. I'm not sure if he could give that same view on ESPN, because maybe you don't want to be on television criticizing one of your own partners. Maybe it's not something that the network would be happy about, but he has the freedom to do so off air. So to me, man, there's so many rules within the game that are being added in at this point, and I think we're all still in the phase of learning, right? Because there are going to be certain things that you do that you think are okay that we later on find out that it's not the way to go. So to me, because some people could say she's just saying what she thinks, and she's saying it exactly how she felt it would be. So to me, I think he makes a point, valid points. But I think that based on what I know about her, I haven't seen her do this much. But nevertheless, that doesn't stop Ryan Clark from expressing his view. So what I want to know from you guys is simply this. What do you think about the points Ryan Clark outlined in terms of not dismissing Cam Newton, even given the fact he's still out of the NFL? That doesn't mean that his points aren't valid. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And we catch you guys on the next show. Peace.